Thanks once again for joining in. My name is Vivek. I am the VP of Product at Indusface. And today I'm going to talk about an important feature, which is SwyftComply. That's one of the most important features that we have released recently in AppTrana. With that, let me get started. So before going into the crux of this webinar, I just want to set the agenda of today's webinar. So in today's webinar, what I'll do is I'll quickly give you a context around why we build this feature, right? What was the motivation and what is the need that we saw in the market because for which we had built this feature. Then we'll go ahead and talk about how this feature works in AppTrana, and then I'll give you a quick demo, also give some real life use cases on how this is being used. With that, let me get started. So what we see as we talk to a lot of customers, prospects, and analysts is that APIs and applications are exploding, right? So this is something that is common theme that we are seeing right across the industry, across various verticals. Every organization has a lot of applications, and these applications could be not just only as a business enabler, but it could be also be for their brand or for setting up communications between various machines and whatnot, right? So what we see is on an average, an organization sees about 350 plus applications and about 10,000 plus APIs. And this is not something that we are just taking from researchers and industry, but this is something that we have also seen very close in our product, right? If you don't know, in AppTrana, we recently released asset discovery, which is essentially a feature to identify the external facing assets of an organization. So this was a major hit for many of our customers, where many of our customers had just few hundreds of sites, and when they did their asset discovery, they saw more than thousands of assets that were publicly available, right? And many a times it was because of some zombie applications. They built in applications that they thought was stale, but it was still live. Marketing team had released applications that they were not aware of. So there were a lot of more applications than the security team knew about. So coming back to the crux of today's webinar, the bottom line is every organization has a lot of application APIs than they know of. And what does this also mean is that there is a proliferation of vulnerabilities. Every organizations with all their assets being public over the internet, many of these assets have vulnerabilities that are open over the internet. We published the last year's report, which was where we sampled about 1,400 applications. And what we saw was about 29,000 vulnerabilities were open across these applications. And these are critical high medium vulnerabilities, right? So vulnerabilities that are of importance, and these vulnerabilities are open in the wild. And this is also backed by some of the recent surveys done, where one of the surveys says that in a Fortune 500 companies, at least 450 critical vulnerabilities are found in a year. So this is a huge problem, right? And this problem of lot of vulnerabilities and that not being protected is what we are trying to address. So backing that up, what we also see is more than 32% of these vulnerabilities remain open in the wild for more than 180 days. And the major reasons when we dig deeper is because of, say, the applications are legacy systems, right? So patching these vulnerabilities are not that easy. There are zero-day vulnerabilities that are found that the application owners are not even aware of. They are using third-party tools, libraries, platforms, which would again cause huge, which again means that the organization does not have control over the quality of the code, so the vulnerabilities remain open. And last but not least is the prioritization problem, right? There is always a tussle between growth as well as versus security. And in this tussle, vulnerabilities are the guys where vulnerabilities are what that remain patched. It never gets fixed, and it ends up being open in the wild. So this is what is the major problem, right, that we see. And this is something that we constantly hear across our security teams that we talk to who are using our product. What we see is there is at one side, there is the application owners who are trying to release new features, upgrade their application. Essentially, they're trying to drive their business, right? And on the other side, there is the compliance needs, security needs, where you need to ensure that the application is not compromised. Depending on the verticals that you are working on, there will be regulatory bodies which mandates you to ensure that none of these applications can be compromised. But all these things leads to huge friction, and it is the security team that is always struggling with these problems, right? And what we realized was that you need a way to quickly track these vulnerabilities and patch them, right? Or essentially, you need to be able to do the entire security assessment in days and ensure that all your vulnerability is protected so that you can go live. That's a major piece, major problem that we realized that we needed to address. And it is to solve this problem that we have recently released SwyftComply. So with SwyftComply, what you will get is a very quick compliance of your applications. And how do we do that? The users of AppTrana will know that we are the only vendors who provide a risk-based application protection solution to our customers. So with this risk-based application protection solution, what we do is we scan the applications, and we find the risk posture of the application. So we have an automated scanner which is inbuilt, which you would know about. And also, you know that this can be complemented with manual pen testing. So customers can request for manual pen testing, where our pen testers would do business logic checks and help you identify any vulnerabilities that are there in the application. So these two things were already there as part of AppTrana. Then we are also providing unlimited custom rules, where customers would have to go and request for custom rules for vulnerabilities they wanted to be patched at WAF level. And our security team would write these custom rules for you to ensure that they are protected. So when an application is onboarded and be onboarded behind AppTrana, there will be a certain set of default rules which will be there as part of AppTrana, which we call as the core rule sets. And based on these core rule sets, some of these vulnerabilities will be automatically protected. And for the vulnerabilities that are not automatically protected, so far you are asked to go and request for custom rules from the portal, and looking at each vulnerability at what vulnerabilities you needed patching. And based on that, our security teams would write those patching for you. So that was the experience that you were getting so far. But what we realized while talking to our customers and everything is that we can do better, right? So there was frictions around the security team not knowing which vulnerabilities to request for patching in the WAF layer versus what vulnerabilities that needed fixing code. And they had to, when they had hundreds and thousands of applications, how do they go about it and ensure that all the vulnerabilities are patched? So these were the usability challenges and security challenges that we were seeing in the ground. And to address this problem is what we have released, what we call as the SwyftComply. Now, the SwyftComply is, with the SwyftComply, what we do is, for any application, once the risk detection is done, which is either you have done the automated scanning or manual pen testing, in the detect page of the application, you will have the button called request SwyftComply, where you could go ahead and request for SwyftComply, and which eventually means a request goes to our security team. So now our security team will look at your application, will evaluate all the vulnerabilities that are there, decide what needs to what vulnerabilities can be patched in WAF, and they will write the custom rules where needed to patch these vulnerabilities in WAF, and then provide you a clean report saying that all these vulnerabilities are patched. And this is done by testing these patches again through the scanner, right? So once a vulnerability is patched, the scanner will again run through the WAF and see if if the scanner is able to detect this vulnerability again. When the scanner is not able to detect any of these vulnerabilities, then only the clean scan report will be published. So this is akin to safe to host certificates that our manual pen testing teams would provide. The only difference being safe to host will be provided only if the vulnerabilities are patched in the code, whereas this would be more that there's a certification that these vulnerabilities are not open in the wild, right? So that's the difference between the SwyftComply report versus the safe to host certificate. But that said, it serves the purpose equivalent to the safe to host certificates, wherein we have validated whether these vulnerabilities are properly patched through WAF, and then only the SwyftComply report will be published. So now let's just see a quick demo, kind of give you a real life example. And because of that, I have taken my own site, which is the docs.indusface.com. So docs.indusface.com is to host our docs portal, we are using a third-party services. So this is a common problem that organizations would also see, where they will have launched their applications in a third-party platforms and the other things. So they have very little control over the vulnerabilities. So in those cases, how does it work? So that it is to show that example that I have taken the docs.portal example. So in this case, so docs.portal obviously is behind AppTrana, and you can come here and start the scans, do the manual pen testing. So in this case, we had done the automated scan, the last automated scan that was done on May 4th. And based on the vulnerabilities found, we had requested the SwyftComply report, and then the SwyftComply report was published on February 29th, right? So though the latest scan, there are no additional vulnerabilities, so you didn't have to request for an additional SwyftComply report also. But if there are new vulnerabilities found in the new scan, then you will again get a button to request for SwyftComply. So here, once you request for SwyftComply, you which is the initiate for SwyftComply button here, you can click this and a request will go to our support team, right, or our managed service team. And with that, our team will look at all the vulnerabilities that are there in the applications, and then they will patch it, right? And once they are patched, you will see details like this, where how all the vulnerabilities are protected, and if there are any vulnerabilities that needs patching. And once everything is patched, except for vulnerabilities that needs fix in code, so there could be some vulnerabilities that cannot be patched at the application level. I mean, at the WAF level, and it has to be fixed only at the application or at the server level. Then we will call it out very clearly as fix in code, and then publish a report for you. And the report will look like, I mean, this will load, but if you look at the PDF, it will look like this, where we will say, will give you the details of all the vulnerabilities, what are the type of vulnerabilities, and whether it is patched or not. And we will also clearly call out a vulnerability that needs fix in code. So this eventually means that customers can go ahead and prioritize only this vulnerability, ensure that only this vulnerability is patched before you release it to the wild. So this will reduce a lot of friction that you have with your application owner team, where you can just ask the application team to just fix the vulnerabilities that has been marked as fix in code immediately, and then have all the other vulnerabilities be patched at the WAF layer, ensuring that there is clear protection and without compromising speed. So similarly, there is, I would want to show another portal also where this is again demonstrated to you. Once again, let me. So this is a portal. I'm just trying to log in. Sorry, give me a minute. So here we have two sites. One is the app side. If you look at this again, the scan was done today, and the report is also being published. So here we had found nearly 55 vulnerabilities, and now out of these vulnerabilities, all the vulnerabilities are patched except a few which are fixed in code. And here, if you can see, we have done both the automated scans as well as the manual pen testing. So now you have the complete risk posture of your application, both from the business logic side as well as from the automated scanning side of things. So now you have the complete risk posture. And now if all these vulnerabilities are patched, and there are some prioritized lists of fix in code that you have to go and fix it in the application. Once that is done, the report that you get here will be akin to your safe to host certificate, right? Because now a check has been, manual pen testing team has checked the vulnerabilities, has checked your application for vulnerabilities. And once the patch is done, again, the manual pen testing team has validated that the patch is working fine. And then only this report is published. So this is very close to what you get as very close to what you get as safe to host certificate. And obviously, as I said, there are some vulnerabilities that needs to be fixed in code, this which has to be prioritized before you are safe. So that's the quick demo here. So again, just trying to summarize everything. What you get as part of this is that you get a complete report, with a report which has all the vulnerabilities, both the automated scanning vulnerabilities as well as the pen testing vulnerabilities. And then in the report, you also get the clear view on which of these vulnerabilities are patched, which of these vulnerabilities are not patched, which of these vulnerabilities needs fixed in code. And this patch status, very important, is being validated by a scanner and the pen testing team. So once the custom rules have been applied, it is validated to ensure that the same vulnerability is not found through the WAF, or once the rules are applied. So which eventually means that that vulnerability is not exposed over the internet, and you have enough time to go and patch it at the code level. So summarizing everything, so we give you the automated scanner and the pen testing, which finds the vulnerabilities, and then these are patched by at our WAF layer by the rules written by our security team, as well as the core rule sets that are part of WAF. And the revalidation is done through WAF before the clean scan report is published. So one question that you might get as you use this product is, why is this that Indusface is able to do it, whereas other vendors are not able to do it, and why are we so effective? The major reason why we are effective is that we are the only vendors who provide the complete risk detection and risk protection in the same platform. So we are the only vendors who have automated scanner, pen testing team, as well as swap in the same organization. this provides a great synergy, right? As we find new types of vulnerabilities, that information is passed on to our signature development teams who would be able to write the specific rules, who would know how to write targeted rules to ensure that vulnerabilities are protected, right? The biggest challenge with any WAP space is that WAPs are never put in block mode. It's essentially because of the false positive that is there. And it is because of our expertise that our managed service team has, and that expertise is built over years because we are the only vendors who have both the scanner and WAF in the same platform, is that we are able to provide such a good service, right, to our customers. So there's a close synergy, right? The manual pen testing team looks at the cutting edge of vulnerabilities, right? Any zero-day vulnerabilities, all these things. So they are always looking for new ways of finding vulnerabilities. And as they find new ways of finding vulnerabilities, that information is passed on to both our automated scanner team and also the signature lab team, so that they can build the protection layers around that. So this works in a very tight loop, ensuring that we are able to provide a very very great service to our customers. With that, I come to the end of my webinar. Before I close this session and open it up for questions, I just wanted to give a quick brief about AppTrana for any audience who are using any of our other products and not using AppTrana. So AppTrana is an AI-driven web application and API protection platform which helps you protect your web application APIs. And the key part is we start from asset discovery, where we look at your organization's view from outside and scan the internet and give you what all assets are available over the internet for your organization. So we find all the applications and APIs that are part of your organization. Then those assets can be onboarded to the AppTrana platform, which will help you do the risk detection, identify the vulnerabilities using automated scanner and manual pen testing, and then protect those. And the protection happens at the WAP layer. So when you start onboard application in AppTrana, the protection starts from day zero. So we have certain set of rules, which we call as advanced rules, which are fine-tuned for false positives, which ensures that we can start protection from day zero. And then we also do a false positive monitoring for other set of rules. And within 14 days, we would move those rules to block mode, right? So which comes as part of a managed service. As part of our risk protection, we also provide advanced DDoS protection, bot mitigation solutions, and also API security solution. In the API security, we do API discovery, automatic positive security model creations, and also backed by API-specific policies. The last but not least, our biggest value prop is our managed service, where we take care of the entire web application API protection needs. We do not expect customers to have security expertise, so the entire WAP layer is managed by us. All the rules, even the writing of the custom rules, as I have completely explained during this webinar, everything is taken care by us. We also do a 24/7 monitoring for any anomalies, and if there are any anomalies that are observed, then our team jumps in and takes the mitigation actions. Also, we have integrated CDN to our solutions to ensure that you don't have to compromise speed for security. For CDN, we are partnered with Tata City. With that, we come to the end of this presentation. I'm open for questions. Okay, I see there is one question. I'll just try and answer that. Uh, okay, someone has asked, I have an enterprise advanced plan. Is there an additional charge involved for manual pen testing? Yes. Enterprise advanced plan do not come with PT. So PT is an add-on for enterprise advanced plan. So you would have to request for PT, and you have to talk to your account owners, and they will let you know what are the charges for PT and how you can avail the same. Is there any other questions? If there are any questions around this feature or any other things also in AppTrana, I'll be happy to answer.
Vivek, there is one more question. Does it work over internet published applications or assets only, or internal assets can also be scanned or monitored?
No, it is our AppTrana platform works only for internet-facing applications. So any applications that is publicly facing, it works for protecting those, right? Any other questions?
Oh,
Okay, thank you. Thanks for joining in. Please try out this feature. If you have any questions, do reach out to our team. Our support team is available 24/7. And if you need to reach out to me, you can do so also. My coordinates are vivek.gopalan@indusface.com. You can reach out to me anytime and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you. Thanks for joining.